Cool.
Mhm.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam wa man wala. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone. My name is Mahmoud Zayed, and inshallah today I will be giving a brief overview of one of the upcoming classes and workshops that will be presented as a part of the Community Skills Uptrade program at Masjid Sadar. So inshallah on November 17th, we will be hosting a professional career development seminar led by me, inshallah. And I'm going to spend a brief 15 or 20 minutes discussing what we're going to be covering in that workshop. Hopefully build some awareness around what you can expect. Inshallah, if there's any feedback on what would like to be covered, or any suggestions on the material,
I do
those
stock
suggestions are of
marketing.
course welcome.
Huh? Here,
What was that, brother?
marketing in college.
What was that? I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
It's easier for the brothers to text your question into the chat. That way we can read it and answer it publicly, just in case we have microphone issues. So just go into the chat and type the question there, inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah, that would be the best way to kind of facilitate questions that are coming in. And as they come in, Shahid, if you're aware of anything that comes through the chat and I happen not to see it, please do let me know.
All right.
So inshallah, I'll be giving a brief overview of what we'll be covering in our seminar next week. So I'll briefly provide some background on myself and some of my work experience, both professionally and in the space of professional career development. And then we'll jump into some of the topics we'll be covering next week, inshallah. So just to give a little background about myself, just so everyone is aware and understands my background and where my experience is. So I went to Rutgers University. I studied information technology and informatics with a minor in business administration. So my background primarily is in IT and technology, primarily implementation. The bulk of my experience is in pharmaceutical management consulting. So I have experience working at a handful of pharmaceutical organizations, be it Bayer, Daiichi Sankyo, and currently Johnson & Johnson. So as a management consultant, I work primarily in digital transformation, new system implementation, and facilitation of business process improvement and other areas as well. So that's my professional career and what I currently do on a day-to-day. But outside of that, I spend a lot of my time, over 3 years now, as a career coach. So what I've been doing on a one-on-one basis is working with individuals who are currently on the job market or expecting to be on the job market, and help guide them through the entire end-to-end process of finding a job, how they brand themselves, how they prepare themselves for the job hunt, how they navigate the interview process, um, answering some of the tough questions that are posed to them by interviewers and recruiters, and then eventually, locking down the job, negotiating salary, and so on and so forth. So, my passion behind the area of professional career development really stems from my own experiences, locking down my first job. I found it very difficult to get some of the answers that I was looking for, such as, how do I build out my resume? What is some of the information I should include on my resume? How should I format my resume? What kind of jobs should I be looking for? How do I answer some of the tough questions that I get when I'm being interviewed? So I found that there was not one centralized location or resource that I could reach out to find these answers. So my goal has been to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the course of these past years with those folks who are on the job market, or are looking to put themselves in a position to achieve some of their professional career goals, and help guide them with some of the answers that they may be looking for. I think a lot of the information that I'm going to share, inshallah, can be used regardless of what point you are in your professional journey. So on one end of the spectrum, you have, someone who just graduated high school, someone who is still in the middle of their undergraduate experience, and may be looking for their first job. They may be looking for an internship, and they're still very foreign to, work in the corporate world, how to navigate the professional career journey, and how to set themselves up for success. On the other end of the spectrum, you might have someone who is 5, 10 years within their current career or industry, and they want to renew or refine their career goals. They may be looking for a promotion within their current industry. They may be looking to transition out of the industry that they're in and move towards another career or another profession. So I think there's opportunity for people across all areas of the spectrum to learn from what we have in store, inshallah, and hopefully benefit those who are listening and allow us all to achieve our professional goals and be the best that we can be in our respective professions, inshallah. So my area of specialty, I would say, in terms of the industries of those individuals that I work with are, of course, consulting, as that's the industry that I'm in. But I've helped coach people who are in the business field, business and financial analysts, data analysts, software engineers, folks in sales and account management, as well as HR. Those are just some of the industries that I've been able to help guide individuals get to the finish line in terms of their career goals and their job hunt journey. So hopefully, inshallah, I'll be able to benefit those outside of those areas as well. But I should be able to offer some direct expertise within those respective fields. So that's a little background about myself. I think I can jump into some of the topics we'll be covering next week, inshallah. And just to preface this, the professional career development field is a wide-ranging field of study. There is an immense amount of material to cover, and it would be impossible to touch upon everything in the time span of an hour or an hour and a half. So my goal with this session, inshallah, is to cover some of the basics to deliver the foundation of the professional career development journey in today's day and age. And hopefully beyond that, we can expand upon some of these specific areas in a future session, based on the request of some of the attendees, as well as the demand and the feedback that we get, inshallah. So hopefully by the end of the session, you should come away with a strong foundation in the areas we'll be covering, and we'll look to expand upon those in the future, inshallah. So there are 6 areas that we'll be looking to cover in our session next week, inshallah. So starting at the top, hopefully you'll be taking away, 1, how to define your career goals. And this is a very important area to start with, because without there's a famous quote by Benjamin Franklin where he says, without a plan, you are essentially planning to fail. So it is important for those who are looking to, achieve the highest levels of success within their professional career to take the time to reflect on themselves and spend some time on introspection in order to understand exactly what you are trying to achieve and how to define your career goals. Again, this varies depending on what part of the process that or of the career journey that you're in. But being able to be honest with yourself, set ambitious but achievable goals will give you something to work towards. And inshallah, we'll be able to provide more background, more insight on some of the tools that will get you there and get you to achieving the goals that you set. But it's important to set these goals so that you have something to work with, and so that you can lay down the path for not only a long-term career vision, but a short-term goal that will get you to a long-term goal, and that long-term goal that will take you to fulfilling your career vision. So it's a very important part of the career journey, and that is the starting point that will, inshallah, set you up for success. The next topic we'll cover is, where do we start? You know, when we are on this professional career development journey, how do we define our starting point? I find a lot of times that very question can be the reason why, as a potential candidate or someone, you know, within your own professional journey, we find ourselves stagnant. We find ourselves procrastinating and limiting ourselves from achieving upon some of the goals we may have set, because of that very question. Where do I start? There's hesitancy to begin because we wonder whether or not it is the right place to start. So I'll be covering some good starting points depending on where you are. You know, if you're a college student, for example, your starting point may be a little different than someone who is within their second or third you know, professional experience and looking to get a promotion or move on to another role or another area. So the starting points may vary. There is no one correct answer as to where to start. I would say the most important thing is to start to begin with. But the goal with sharing this information is to ensure that we are putting our energy behind the things that are beneficial and that will get us to the finish line more quickly and more efficiently than through other methods. The third topic we'll be covering is resume building 101. So what I'll be doing is building the foundation for a successful resume that will get you callbacks from the jobs that you apply for, a successful resume that, when scanned by an ATS scanner, ATS is an automatic tracking system that a lot of these companies use to field out potential candidates from non-potential candidates, to ensure that your resume is up to the standards in order to receive high marks from an ATS and kind of move you on to a human review, is something we'll cover as well. We'll cover some action verbs that you can use within your resume. We'll talk about formatting, what's important to include in your resume versus what could be left out, and how to tailor your resume to the specific type of job that you're looking for. So I find this will probably be the most interesting part of the discussion. I think there's a lot to learn from all areas of this workshop, inshallah, but there are many preconceived notions about resumes that I think we will debunk in our session next week, inshallah. So a lot to learn from this resume building portion. And ultimately, our goal here is to make sure that our resume is a resume that resonates with recruiters as soon as they see it. And just to give some background really quickly, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of a recruiter. A recruiter has a job and an obligation to bring the highest level of talent to the organization for which they are employed by. So with that being said, the sheer volume of resumes that they are reviewing on a day-to-day basis, the sheer amount of candidates that they are filling out for a potential fit within their organization, is a very high number. So when we think about our resume and kind of putting ourselves in the shoes of a recruiter, there won't be much time that will be spent looking at one resume versus another. The goal will be, I'm going to take a few seconds, maybe 10 seconds at most, to quickly glance over the resume that's in front of me. And if I quickly determine that this person is not a fit for the role, I'm going to move on to the next resume, just because of the sheer volume of candidates that are applying to roles within, within an organization. So our goal as potential candidates who are applying to these jobs and to these organizations is to make sure our resumes stand out from first glance, so that when recruiters view our resumes, we immediately make ourselves differentiated candidates compared to others, and move towards getting our foot in the door and getting a call back from these companies for an initial screening. So we'll be spending some time discussing some of the tips and tricks to build out a resume to elicit that kind of response from recruiters. And inshallah, I think that'll be a very beneficial portion of the discussion. The next step and next topic we'll be covering is the job hunting journey. Was there a question there? All right, just think I think we're getting a little feedback. Let me just check the chat and see if we have a response here. Yeah, thank you for that, Shahid. So for any individuals who are just joining the chat, if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat, just so we can kind of continue along with the presentation. If not, please do put yourself on mute, and we can address some of the questions at the end, inshallah.
Did they kill the person? Didn't somebody try,
Also mute everyone on your end.
Yeah, let me just do that.
What kind of society are we building?
All right. All right, so continuing along, so the next topic we'll be covering is the job hunting journey. So to give some background on the job hunting journey, I think things have changed significantly over the course of the past 10 years, especially over the course of the past 2 or 3 years because of COVID. The entire job market has changed, whether you look at remote jobs, whether you look at how interviews are conducted. Interviews are primarily conducted right now, via Zoom or via video chat for the most part. And the amount of jobs that are out there as well has changed significantly because of the advancements in technology and the various subcategories within respective, industries and franchises. There are tons of new jobs that are out there that require, different means to target them and different means to land them. So in a sort of 2021 job hunting perspective, there are a lot of nuances to be aware of prior to beginning the job hunting journey. And I think without knowing these factors, you may be selling yourself short. So what we'll be covering in this portion of the workshop is how to go about the job hunting journey as efficiently as possible, with the highest success rate as possible. And with the understanding that there will be a significant amount of work that needs to be put in order to land the job that you are looking for. One of the sayings that I have repeated time and time again to the people that I've coached is that finding a job is a full-time job in and of itself. It does truly require a significant amount of effort. It does require a commitment. But what we'll be going over will allow us to target the job hunt from different facets, from different vantage points, and allow us to ensure that we are doing absolutely as much as we can be doing in order to get a response back from these organizations. And when it comes to hunting for a job, our goal always is to get our foot in the door. If we can get a response from a recruiter, if we can bring about interest in ourselves as candidates for a job that we are applying for, we have the flexibility to explain ourselves and provide some background on why we are a good fit within the interview process. But in order to land an initial interview and even begin taking part in that process, we have to ensure that we're successful actually hunting for the jobs that we're looking for. So I'll be speaking about some of the different tools and methods that we can leverage in order to find jobs that we're looking for, the different types of roles that are available within the respective industries that we are searching for, how to position ourselves and how to brand ourselves as candidates that would receive an interview. And we'll also cover putting ourselves in a position to be reached out to by recruiters. So many of us think that the only way for us to land an interview is for us to be, on the forefront of the battle and putting in applications, reaching out to organizations. Whereas if you brand yourself correctly, you can have recruiters reach out to you and ask you if you are interested in potentially applying for a job. So that would be the ideal method, of course. So we'll be speaking a little bit about how we can brand ourselves to be ideal candidates that recruiters would reach out to and kind of headhunt. The next topic we'll be covering is the interview process. So, hopefully at this point, after you build out your resume, after you find an ideal job that you're interested in, you have a recruiter reach out to you, and now you're faced with a handful of interviews that you need to get through in order to land the job that you're looking for. And the interview process can be very daunting. Most often you'll have 3 to 5 interviews. Some jobs vary, some require technical interviews, some require more conversations, some require less. But there traditionally is a standard set of questions and expectations that one should be prepared for when they're going through the interview process. So we'll be covering some of the keys to preparing yourself for the interview process. How to do research on an organization that you're preparing to interview for, and how to make yourself stand out with the level of research that you do. We're going to talk about some of the typical questions that you get asked during the interview process, and how to answer them. And not only how to answer them, but to understand what the interviewer is looking for in a response when you're asked that question. And understanding the deeper meaning behind some of the questions that we're posed with, and knowing that how to respond to provide the right answer to those who are interviewing us, how to answer some of the difficult questions that we're faced with throughout the interview process. When it comes to questions about salary expectations, for example, how do we respond in a way that will not negate us from consideration, while at the same time ensuring that we're being fairly compensated for the role that we're applying to. So questions like these, I think, require an adequate amount of time to be spent discussing them and understanding how to respond. So we'll be discussing some of these standard questions and how to master the process and prepare for it in the best way possible. And lastly, we'll be closing out with sealing the deal. When we land the job, what are some of the steps that we can take to ensure that we are continuing to grow and strive towards our professional development? How can we ensure that we are remaining successful within our current career, and ensure that our career is continuing to drive us towards our long-term vision? How to understand when it's time to make a move in your career, how to understand when it's time to renew your skill set, begin seeking out additional certifications, additional learning, and invest in yourself in order to remain a high value candidate, and ultimately how to continue that development as you continue through your professional journey, so that when you do eventually land that job that you're looking for, inshallah, you don't stop there, you don't become stagnant in your job, but you continue to grow and ensure that you use any new opportunity as a stepping stone to bigger and larger goals, inshallah. So that really covers the spectrum of topics that we'll be going over next week, inshallah. It'll be a very packed workshop. I think there's a lot of information to cover. Inshallah, my goal is to have you feeling that you are ready to tackle your job hunt with a renewed interest, a renewed commitment, and being armed with an entirely new tool set of resources, of tools that you can leverage, of knowledge that you can use throughout your process. And inshallah, you end up benefiting from it, and you can share that newfound information with others so they can benefit from it as well, inshallah. I know the overview session was scheduled for 30 minutes. I think we have about 3 minutes or so left until we reach that 30-minute mark. But I will stop here and open up the floor for any questions from any of the attendees, inshallah.
At this point, you guys can unmute yourselves if you have a question, since I only wanted the chat so they didn't disturb his original presentation. If there's no questions right now, you can when we post the video later on, if anyone has any questions, I'll make sure to leave your contact information. Inshallah.
Inshallah. I got a comment from Sada. She said, looking forward to this, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan, Sada. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you, inshallah, as well. If there's no questions right now, one thing I will say is if you know anybody who is potentially interested in attending the workshop, please do spread the word. I believe the flyer was shared in the Message Sidar community group chat. And we can definitely share it again if there's any trouble finding it. There's a QR code on there. If you're interested in signing up, please do scan the QR code and provide your information. Of course, the session is free. It's open to everyone within the community. So inshallah, sign up, let your friends know, let your family members know, anyone who you think who can benefit, inshallah. I think I'm looking forward to sharing all this information with everyone, inshallah.
Okay, then.
All right. All right. With that being said, if there are no other questions, the session is recorded. So I believe Shahid, you'll be uploading it and sharing it with everyone in the community chat. Otherwise, the session is going to be next week, inshallah. November 17th, that's Thursday. It's going to be after Salat al-Isha, inshallah. It's about an hour and a half. So not too long of a session, but there'll be ample time to ask questions and to learn as much as you can, inshallah. So looking forward to seeing everyone there, inshallah. Otherwise, jazakallah khairan. Thank you guys for attending today. And looking forward to seeing all you guys next Thursday, inshallah.
Before you end, just click the record button again to end the recording, and it'll save on your computer.
All right, let me do that.